What was the most gruesome thing you saw at your school? My high school had 3 balconies on the second floor. Walking between classes you could see the mass of students moving below. There were massive skylights above, so I assume this was designed to allow natural light into the ground floor. One day someone thought it would be hilarious to toss an unopened can of soda over the balcony. People start yelling duck and a kid looked up just in time to have the can land right on his eye socket. He lost that eye. Second would probably be the kid who ended up at the bottom of the pile in football practice and came off the field screaming and his thumb was in the middle of his palm. I saw a guy pick a fight with another guy who I later found out was a state champion boxer. Dude A threw several punches which Dude B easily dodged. When it became clear Dude A wasn't going to stop, Dude B threw one right hook. I saw teeth and blood fly, and Dude A hit the deck immediately, obviously unconscious. Dude B then backed away with his hands over his head to show he didn't intend to do anything more. One Punch Man. Middle school. Go to bathroom during class, hear yelling inside. Go inside, to find one of the big bads of the school grab a dude the back of his head and repeatedly slam his face into the sink counter. Blood was flying everywhere. Ran to tell a teacher. Dude got suspended for 2 weeks, the one getting beaten never came back to school as far as I know. A guy in woodshop class turned up a lathe at too high a setting, had some boards glued together I think and wanted to make a bat or something. He revved it up and applied a chisel or something during the process, the wood blew apart and it gouged out one of his eyes. Blood everywhere. Classmate turned his thumb inside out with a table saw. Blood didn't squirt, it just oozed out in big drops. Still picture one guy eating a chocolate cupcake while looking closely at the wound. When I was in HS I remember kids playing basketball in the gym during lunch. One kid was going in for a layup and got tripped. He basically did a forward roll right into the corner of a concrete wall by an exit door. Hit head first. As he laid there in a pool of blood from the head wound he received, the staff on duty to watch the gym placed a thin blanket over him. Like over his face and all. We thought we witnessed him die. He turned out fine. Edit. Holy shit guys, thanks for all the upvotes. I appreciate every one of you. I watched 2 girls fight and one grabbed the other by the back of the head and ran her face along the concrete sidewalk. It happened so fast and was over before anyone could break it up. Needless to say the girl with the pavement facial lost the fight. A kid grabbed some fries from another kid's tray during lunch. Other kid leaps up, grabs him, and bangs his head into a metal railing until it's bleeding. Also in the parking lot a kid I barely knew pulled me aside, and popped his trunk open. Inside were several AK-47s. Not gruesome, but pretty surprising for the time. This was 1995. 2 seniors took the blower-type hand dryers in the men's room and turned the nozzle 180 degrees so it pointed straight up. They then placed a turd into the flow nozzle, baking it with hot air and filling the whole first floor with the smell of a baking dookie. I later found out it took them 8 or 9 minutes of holding their breath and running back into the bathroom to run the blower again since they only run about 20-ish seconds. Edit. Glad my most upvoted post is about some baking dookie. The guys who did it were never officially caught, though they went down as legends. Saw a girl get turned down for Sadie Hawkins by the guy yelling, "No, I don't want to go to the dance with you. You come over and we fuck. That's it. That's all we are." Someone threw an Arizona iced tea bottle at a kid's face. Split him open about 6 inches. Saw a kid die from cardiac arrest at wrestling practice. I was in 6th grade, he was a 7th grader. We were doing a takedown drill. Him and his partner were right next to me. He got taken down and stopped breathing. Turned purple. They rushed us out of the gym. Apparently, he had a hole in his heart and the doctors warned him not to do sports. RIP. During 4th grade my elementary school had a tall rusted fence that blocked the schoolyard from the outside, and some kid tried to climb it to get a ball back. He slipped on top and his arm got stuck by the top of the railing, perforating his arm and cutting it deep almost from wrist to elbow. He collapsed from shock and loss of blood still stuck to the railing. Fortunately the fire department got there in less than 15 minutes and they got the kid out of it, saving him. He has this huge scar in his arm, but it's alive, well and moves his arm well. To this day I can't shake that image out of my mind. A kid tripped during cross-country practice and broke his arm. And by broke, I mean broke. About a third of the way down the forearm it was bent 45 degrees. When he got up it was flopping like a dead fish. Wasn't any blood, and the kid wasn't screaming, either. According to him he couldn't feel a thing. The juxtaposition of such an obviously bad injury with the kid casually laughing like, "Wow, my arm looks weird," was profoundly unsettling. Edit. To narrow it down, this happened almost 10 years ago in the northeast US to one of a set of identical twins. One of y'all contacts me and I found the same shit happen somewhere else. I'm gonna be freaked out. Kid, his neck broke in a wrestling match by a dude slamming him in a full Nelson. Circa 2006, before phone cameras and such, thankfully. His poor parents walked into a bathroom stall to see the biggest turd I've ever seen. Like seriously, it was the size of a mango or a large russet potato. Vaguely football-shaped too, just like the record-breaking turd from South Park. I can only imagine the unholy hell whoever took that went through. It was bigger than the hole in the toilet, zero chance you could flush it. A friend in high school befriended a new kid from out of state. The new kid got her hooked on meth and she was paying him for it with sex. Her brother 2 years older found out and went to confront them at lunch. He caught them having sex at lunch in the car. I've never seen anyone get dragged out of a car and beaten so bad. The female security guard just screamed, "You're on school property, you're going to go to jail," and dude dragged him into the street and kept beating him. Kinda wholesome. Our rival school sawed a deer in half and put it in our garbage can. They sprayed for insects during the winter break, so when we came back to school, half-dead roaches started crawling out and fully covered the bottom, basement floor where still a lot of classes were held. Some guys played football with them. I had to do some presentation and couldn't stop staring at one twitching his legs on his back where the chalk was. I had to stop and ask someone to please remove it. But they were all over the place. It was bad. I was watching a fight in the halls of my high school years ago. It was right outside the counselor's office. The kids were going at it, no idea what the fight was about. The door to the counselor's office opens and one of the kids in the fight, Jay, looked at the door to see if there was a teacher coming. As he did, the other kid who he was fighting with, Adam, took one big step back and full-on haymaker Jay in the nose. After the fist connected, Jay's head reeled back and slammed into the concrete cinder block wall and he collapsed.